Hello there, welcome to my channel. My name is Doug and I'm back with another fountain pen video. Hopefully this one will be brief because it's a follow-up on my review that I did last week of this 1988 Parker Duofold Centennial, and you can see that video by clicking right here. In that video I had a flow issue with the 18 karat gold nib on the Centennial. The pen had been uninked for many years, and after an ultrasonic bath in pen flush, it wrote okay, but the nib seemed to be starved of ink, and I was reluctant to pull the nib as the pen doesn't belong to me. The owner gave me permission to continue to work on the pen, and I wanted to show you the results of about a week of effort to get the pen writing properly, right now. So here is the Parker Centennial Duofold. It has this gorgeous 18 karat gold nib and a very special feed design. As you can see, there are no fins on the bottom of the feed, as you see on most modern fountain pens. Parker said they had computer designed this feed so that the pen would be usable at most normal aircraft flight levels. As you may or may not know, the fins on a typical feed are ink collectors. Any small changes in air pressure or temperature will cause the air to expand inside the pen's ink storage system, whether that be a converter, cartridge, piston, what have you. And when the air expands, it forces the ink out of the pen and it burps, either into the cap, onto your paper, or in your pocket. Most modern feeds with these fins, those fins are collectors, and they collect that overflow or that excess. So without fins, how does this Parker feed accomplish no burping? Well, the fins are in the inside, but the fins aren't what controls the flow of ink so much as the channels that allow the ink to seep down to the nib using capillary action. It took me about 3 days of soaking this nib to get it to the point where I could pull it from the section. It wasn't the soaking so much as the warm water that I finally used to free it. And this is what I found inside. So finally, after soaking it for 3 days, I got this nib and feed out of the collar of the Parker Duofold. It took some doing, but you can see why it was getting stuck here. It has some kind of blue gunk, which I had seen under the nib right there. And there goes the nib. You can see all of that blue gunk right there. So I'm going to clean this out and soak it some more, brush it with a toothbrush, do whatever is necessary to get that gunk out of there, because that's obviously what was impeding the flow. And then we'll put this beautiful nib back in the Duofold and write with it a bit. So I finally got all that stuff out of this feed. It was just caked with all these blue particles. Here's the biggest one I had, and I don't know what it is, but it's like a melted plastic, but it's still kind of elastic. You see, it's coming apart. Maybe it's blue because of the ink, but it's like contact cement. And this end on these fins right here, there was an even harder crystallized kind of a glue material that went down all the way. There's a tiny little channel all the way along there, and you can see it there. And I had to open that all up. I went in fin by fin and teased out all these little particles of what looks like contact cement and like a crazy glue. It's almost like someone tried to glue the nib and the feed together and put it inside the barrel, inside the section. The section I've cleaned out as well. It had some residue in it, and I've polished up this nib really nicely, and so I'm going to put this all back together again and put it back in the section, ink up the pen, and see whether we can get it to write better than it was. I tried the pen after doing that video and cleaning the blue gunk out of the feed, but the pen, even though it was better than before, still didn't flow the way it should. So I soaked it again and then scored down the top center channel of the feed with my X-Acto blade, because under the loop I could see that the channel was blocked as well. And I also found that the nib was riding up on the feed, so there's this gap here. In this photograph I've sort of exaggerated the nib above the feed, but it was not touching the feed at the end of the nib there. So I pressed it down a little bit to bend that nib so that the nib and the feed were touching all the way down. And I made another change as well. I changed from Parker ink, which is very dry, to an ink with a good wet flow. Pilot's Iroshizuku Asagao. And I replaced the cartridge that I was syringe filling with a Chinese knockoff Lamy converter. It fits the nozzle on the Parker perfectly. So let's see how this pen writes now. And here we are with the Parker Centennial Duofold. Again, 1988. Parker Duofold Centennial. And it has an 18 karat gold medium metallic nib. So this is, compared to the last time, a lot wetter, and this skip here has to do with this being a cursive italic, because it writes very thin in the horizontal, very thick in the vertical, but it is a fairly sharp italic, and so if you don't hold the pen correctly on your angle, so if you turn your wrist while you're writing with the italic, you'll get very thin strokes with no ink on them. So the line variation you get out of this pen without any pressure at all is really marvelous. But you have to hold your angle correctly. And there is a good deal of bounce to this pen as well. As you can see, you can really get the ink flowing now. I've also found that a lower angle to the page is better with this nib as well. So if you keep your pen extended out and your wrist down, you can get a lot of flair. This is a marvelous pen now. So I'm glad I got out all of the gunk, and the pen is writing beautifully now, and I'll be happy to return it to Teresa, and I'm sure she'll be happy with this pen as well. And there you have it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell to get instant notifications whenever a new video is posted. And please look in the description for a link to Gold Spot pens, as I'm now an affiliate of the online store, and when you shop at Gold Spot using that link, you'll be supporting my channel as well at no extra charge to you. And you can join as a member of my channel for only 99 cents a month, and I guarantee I'll answer your comments in the comment section, and you'll get cool emojis, badges, and sneak peek unboxing videos as well. And that just leaves it for me to say thank you for watching, and that's all she wrote.